Hi, welcome to Yoga at the Library. We have a nice, pretty active class today. There's going to be a little bit more flowing, a little bit more balancing, a little bit more time on our feet than we usually do. But it's nothing crazy, But I think you will enjoy it, and I hope you do. Let's go ahead and start seated. We're going to begin just seated on our mats, finding an even seat. You can sit up on a blanket or on a block, or a rolled up towel works well. Something that's not going to squish underneath your weight but kind of keep its height. Or you can be all the way down on your floor or your mat, sitting up nice and tall, lengthening from the tailbone all the way to the base of the skull. Just feeling the natural curves of your spine. This might be the first time today. It might be the first time in the last few hours that you've lengthened your spine and sat up straight with good posture. Notice if it feels novel or if it feels like, oh yeah, this is a good way to sit. Maybe both. Just checking in with our bodies first, feeling the sides of the feet pressing into the floor, the sides of the ankles, noticing the bend in the knees and the hips. Checking in with your sit bones, making sure that they're even. You're not leaning farther onto or heavier onto one than the other. And sending your awareness all the way up your spine to the crown of the head. So the neck is nice and long, the shoulders are dropped away from the ears, the elbows hang down, the hands just rest wherever it's comfortable. Now that we've got our bodies settled, we'll check in with our breath. Just breathing deeply. Feeling the lungs fill and expand, and exhaling completely, pressing all the stale air out, making room for fresh air. And after a couple of these, check in again with your posture, with your spine. Make sure that you're not hunching forward into the sensations. Sitting up nice and tall, making plenty of room for your lungs to do their thing. Filling all the way to the brim, and exhaling till they're completely empty. One more big deep breath like that. We'll let it out through the mouth. Another deep inhale. Alrighty. We'll move the body. So let's take the arms out and all the way up. And then exhale them both all the way down. Just taking a few deep breaths, waking up the shoulders. Inhaling, arms out and up. See if you can press your hands far enough back behind you that you don't see your hands in your peripheral vision. Just exploring that range of motion in the shoulders. Flapping our wings a little bit. Next time the arms make it all the way up, we'll stretch down to one side, reaching up and over. Inhaling up to center, and exhaling down to the left, or the other side, wherever you're at. Inhaling to center, and exhaling down. Moving with your breath, waking up the obliques, the low back, the shoulders. coming back up to center. And bringing the hands down through the heart. We'll switch our ankles. So the opposite ankle's in nice and close. Re-rooting through the sit bones and sitting up tall. Let's bring our palms together at the heart, taking a big deep breath in. Exhaling and releasing the fingers, pressing the palms forward. Inhaling, palms up. Exhaling, hands reach back. Inhaling, lifting the hands, lifting the chin to open the heart. And exhaling, hands come back to center. We'll do that 2 more times. Deep breath in. Exhaling, palms pressing forward. Inhaling, palms up. Exhaling, hands reach back. Inhaling, opening the heart, opening the throat. And exhaling, hands come back into center. Deep breath in. Exhaling, palms pressing forward. Inhaling, palms up. Exhaling, reaching back. Inhaling, opening it all up. And exhaling, hands coming into the heart. Alrighty, we'll take the hands to the knees and make big circles with the chest. Rounding back, separating the shoulder blades. Pulling all the way over to one side. And then pulling the heart forward. Exploring the low back. The obliques a little bit more. The hips and the hip flexors. Those sit bones are getting a good roll out against the floor. Notice where you feel tension, where you feel release, where you feel any shifts. We'll switch directions, continuing to breathe in a way that makes sense for you while you're moving around. Really sending the heart back and pulling the heart forward. Making our way back into center. And we're going to make our way uncrossing the legs. Giving them a little windshield wipers, maybe rolling out the feet, rolling out the ankles, wiggling out your toes, shaking off that cross-legged position. We were in it for about 8 minutes. No, not 8 minutes. A few minutes. Several minutes. So giving our legs a little stretch out. And we'll make our way onto hands and knees for tabletop position. And this is a good place to add a blanket underneath the knees or a towel, or fold your mat over like so to give yourself 2 layers of mat underneath those tender knees. Planting the palms underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, and coming into a neutral spine so the gaze is down at the floor in between the fingertips. The tailbone's reaching long behind. The belly button's hugging in towards the spine. Long, strong spine. And we'll come into cat and cow. Inhaling, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. And exhaling, rounding up through the back, tucking the tailbone and tucking the chin in towards the chest. Moving with your breath. Taking any little extra movement side to side or forward and back that you need. Feeling out the entire spine, so not forgetting to move your head all the way up and all the way down, bringing the chin as close as you can to your chest. We're exploring that whole range of motion through the spine here. Making our way back to center. Let's plant the hands just about an inch wider, the knees just about an inch closer together. See if we can make ourselves a steadier base. And then go ahead and tuck the toes on both feet. And we'll extend the right leg out long. Let's roll out that ankle a couple times, checking in with your spine. We don't want the belly to drop down to lift the heel up. We want to be long and straight, parallel with the floor. Rolling out that ankle a couple times. Taking a big deep breath in, extending through the heel. And then we'll exhale, hugging the knee in towards the heart. Inhaling, extending out long. And exhale, hugging the knee in towards the heart. Inhaling, coming out long through the heel. And exhale, knee comes into the heart. And then we'll lower that knee down. Tucking the toes on the right foot. And we'll extend the left leg out long. Just level with the hip, not up beyond the hip, just level. Rolling through that ankle a couple times. Taking the foot flexed so the heel extends back. We'll inhale to lengthen. And exhale, hugging that knee in as close as you can. Inhaling long. And exhaling in close. Inhaling long. And exhaling in nice and close. We'll lower both knees down. Go ahead and take the elbows down. And we're just going to use this funny little position that we're in to give our wrists a little massage. So just squeezing, alternating wrists. Separating the bones in a good way. Just giving a little extension to those joints. Rolling them out if that feels good. Shaking them out if that feels good. Because we're going to come into downward facing dog. So we're bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders. We're tucking the toes. If you've got a slippery floor underneath your feet like I do, I'm going to unroll my mat, unfold my mat so I've got mat underneath my feet. Coming back into our nice tabletop position. Taking the hands a couple, maybe 2 inches wider. Tucking those toes, lifting up the knees and lifting up the hips. And we're not getting crazy in our downward facing dog. We are alternating, pressing one knee and then the other. I guess bending one knee and then the other, pressing the heels down towards the floor. We are not straightening those legs until we are ready to straighten those legs. So we're not forcing anything here. We're just giving our hamstrings a chance to wake up. Our shoulders are getting stronger here, feeling how steady they are, how they work to be steady. Let's inhale up onto the tippy toes and exhale the heels down towards the floor. Taking a walk up towards the hands, knees bent as much as they need to be. And we're hanging out at the top of the mat. The hands do not need to make it down to the floor. The knees can have a bend in them that is big or small. We're just hanging out here with a heavy head, with heavy arms. Taking a couple full deep breaths. Noticing how the inhalation takes you out of the stretch a little bit. The full lungs. And then the exhalation with emptying lungs takes you a little bit lower, a little bit closer to your legs, closer to the floor. We'll lift up all 10 toes. You've got a good view of them down here. Lifting up all of those toes. And we'll inhale, coming into a flat spine. So we've got our lower legs activated. We've got our back activated. The core is strong. The neck is long and the shoulders are dropping away from the ears. So the spine feels like it's flat, level with the floor. The shoulders are dropping away from the ears towards the hips. So not towards the floor, but down towards the hips. So it's like we're standing in our Tadasana, but we're not there quite yet. Big deep breath in here, pressing the hands into the legs to lengthen the spine. And then we'll exhale and relax the feet, folding all the way back down into our forward fold. Hanging out. Go ahead and shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Maybe even swing the arms from side to side. Bring a little bit of movement into those hamstrings. And we'll take a big bend in both knees and roll one vertebrae at a time all the way up to stand. Standing nice and tall. Checking in with our feet here. We want them to be hip width apart. We want them to be parallel. And we want our kneecaps to be pointing in the same direction our feet are pointing. So using that external rotation just a little bit to get those knees moving in the right direction. Let's stand up nice and tall through the spine. The crown of the head reaching up high. Chin is level with the floor. Fingertips can shine down towards the floor, opening the heart a little bit. Let's go ahead and interlace the hands behind the back. Just interlacing the hands. You can also take opposite elbows. If you're feeling extra flexible today, you can try a reverse prayer position. It's hard. Just to get the palms together behind your back. It opens up the whole outer arm and the chest and some little bitty muscles that it's hard to stretch. So you can, if you can find a reverse prayer, more power to you. If holding opposite elbows feels better, that's great. Or hands just interlaced behind your back. Your hands are behind your back some way that is intentional. So we're standing up nice and tall. Our hands are behind our back. However it works for our hands to be behind our back. We're going to stretch our necks out. So let's take the right ear to the right shoulder. Nodding up and down. Feeling out the whole left side of the neck. Taking a couple full breaths. Helping to release any tension you might feel from sitting, sleeping, driving, stressing out, carrying things, you know, all the things that make our necks tight. Getting your hair done. Exhaling the chin down towards the chest. And inhaling up to the other side. So we're opening up the right side of the neck now. Taking big or little nods. Checking in with your posture, making sure that you're not slouching into the sensation. Continuing to breathe. Using your exhales to release any tension you're finding in that right side of the neck. And we'll take a couple half circles, just swinging from ear to ear. Really check in with the posture here. We don't want to be swinging our whole torso from side to side, but just the head. And then if it feels good, we can take full circles, opening up the throat on the way around. Noticing where you feel tension, where you feel release. Go ahead and switch directions. My circles don't really feel like circles today. They feel more like lemon-shaped. So that's something that I'm curious about. We're not being judgmental about the sensations we feel. We're just noticing what's going on. Making our way back to center with the chin down towards the chest. Lifting the chin level with the floor. Check in with your feet. Notice if they shifted. Check in with your knees. Notice if they're pointing the same direction your feet are pointing. We'll release our hands. Go ahead and shake them out. Maybe roll the wrists out. If you were in the reverse prayer position, you might want to give your wrists a little rub. Another rub similar to the one we gave them earlier. Just squeezing them out. Alrighty, we'll take the arms out wide and all the way up. The right hand comes down to the outside of the right leg and we'll reach up and over with the left. We're not reaching down towards the floor. We're keeping it nice and open, like we're trying to get as long and tall as we can through this left side. Inhaling up to center and exhaling down to the other side. Coming all the way up to center. And we'll exhale, bringing the hands into the heart. Alrighty, we're going to do 3 sun breaths here. Deep breath in with the palms together. Wait. Those were arm circles. We're going to do sun breaths. Deep breath in, arms come out wide and up. False alarm. Exhale to fold forward and bow. Inhaling to lengthen the spine, bringing it flat, parallel with the floor. And exhaling to fold all the way down. Inhaling, coming out and up. And exhaling, hands into the heart. That's what we meant to do. Inhaling, arms come out and up. Exhaling to fold and bow. Inhaling, long, flat spine. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling, coming out and up. And hands come into the heart. Arms come out and up. Exhale and fold. Inhaling, long, flat spine. Exhaling all the way down. And inhaling to come all the way up. Exhaling, hands coming into the heart. Alrighty. Let's take the arms out wide. And on our exhale, give yourselves a hug. Inhaling, arms come out wide. And exhale, round and curl it in. One more on each side. Exhaling to hug and curl it in. Inhaling out. And exhaling to curl it in. Releasing the arms, shaking them out. Okay, we're going to balance. So here we are on both of our feet. Go ahead and play a little bit. Maybe knead the mat a little bit like a kitty cat does. Get your feet nice and warm and deep into your mat. And we'll come onto the right foot first. So making a little kickstand with the left heel. Standing really strong through the whole right side. Not letting that hip pop out. We want to stand nice and strong. Palms come together at the heart. We can stay right here for our tree pose. Or we can bring the foot up the inner leg, below or above the knee. Nice and tall. Once your balance feels good, if your balance feels good, taking your arm variation, maybe taking the hands straight up, maybe taking them out, maybe waving in the wind or finding somewhere that feels right to you to settle with the arms. Big deep breath in. And we'll exhale to relax. Feeling the difference between the right side and the left side. Now we'll even it out. So bringing that left foot strong into the floor. Coming with our kickstand, right heel to the ankle. Palms together. We're standing up really tall through the left side, not letting the hip pop out. Maybe staying right here. Maybe bringing the foot below or above the knee. Finding your balance however you can, maybe taking the gaze to the place where the floor and the wall meet. That's a good spot to focus on to help you balance. Maybe taking your arm variation. Definitely continuing to breathe. Taking a big deep breath in, and then exhaling to relax. Alrighty, let's go ahead and come to the back of the mat. The back of the mat, so you've got your whole mat in front of you. And we'll take the arms out wide and all the way up. Exhale, fold and bow. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. And exhale, bend the knees and take the hands all the way down to the floor. We're going to walk the hands forward towards the top of the mat and find kind of a downward facing dog pose. The knees aren't going to be straight though, because we're about to take the right foot with us up to the hands. So taking a walk, maybe using a hand to bring that right foot all the way up. And then we'll lower the back knee down. So we're coming into a low lunge here. Let's bring the torso upright. So we've got a little bit of a wider base. Usually when we get into a low lunge, we're making a square shape with the legs. But here we've got this right foot a little bit farther forward, so we're getting a nice stretch through this left hip flexor. And if this is terrible on your knee, you can always fold over the edge of the mat and stick it underneath your knee or grab your blanket or your towel. So we're in our low lunge here. Let's inhale the arms out and all the way up. On your next exhale, taking the arms out wide into a T, and then we're going to twist to the right. Twisting to the right and bringing the left hand down to the floor. Coming into a twisting lunge. Maybe looking up towards the ceiling. Maybe looking down towards the floor. acting like someone is holding onto your right hand and pulling you up, go ahead and come back up and rotate to the front. Now release the arms out. Nice. Alrighty, let's go ahead and bring the knees back in line with each other. Hands come down and we find our tabletop position. Untuck those toes. Walk the hands forward a couple inches and we're going to find our modified plank. So we're making a long straight line from the shoulders down to the knees. Big deep breath in here. And we'll exhale to lower all the way down, keeping the elbows in nice and close. Keeping the tops of the feet to the floor, so our toes are pointed. And we'll keep our hands right underneath the fronts of the shoulders. On an inhale, we'll press into the hands gently. We're using, about 75% back muscles and 25% hands here. Inhaling to lift the chest. 75% back muscles, 25% hands. If that, maybe 80-15, 85 and 15. Exhaling to fold all the way down. We'll inhale again, lifting the heart, looking over the left shoulder. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling up, looking over the right shoulder. And exhaling all the way down. Planting those hands, tucking the toes just for the transition. We'll come all the way back up to that modified plank. And then we're going to find our child's pose. So taking the knees wide, the big toes together, and shifting the hips on back. Forehead comes down low towards the floor. The floor can also be your hands, or a yoga block, or your blanket. Noticing how folding up like this allows the hips to get low towards the floor, the spine to get long. Gravity helps us out here by lengthening the spine, stretching through the knees and the ankles, stretching through the hips. And all we have to do is put our bodies in this position, and then gravity kind of takes over. It's a nice passive stretch. And you can't beat the view. Just a whole bunch of yoga mat. We'll make our way on up. Bringing the knees back underneath the hips and tucking the toes. Maybe taking the hands a couple inches forward. We're going to find our downward facing dog again. Alternating, pressing one heel and then the other down towards the floor. Opening up the backs of the knees after that compression in child's pose. And here is where we're going to do the other side. So we're taking this left foot, taking a walk with it all the way up towards the hands, and if you need to use a hand to get it up there, that's fine. Lowering down the back knee, maybe lowering it down on top of a folded over mat or towel, and coming on up. So feeling a nice hip flexor stretch on that right side. Arms come out and up when you feel ready. Big deep breath in, reaching high. And we'll exhale, take the hands out wide in a T and twist to the left. The right hand makes its way down the floor. And we reach up towards the ceiling. Big twist. And your hand and foot can be pretty far apart, like a mat's width apart. They don't need to be close together. That makes the twist harder, that makes balancing harder. Make yourself a wide base. Yoga mats are just yoga mat sizes. They don't mean anything. Sometimes we gotta take up more space than our yoga mat provides. And just like somebody's holding on to your left hand and pulling you up, Coming back upright with the torso, twisting to the front. Now we'll take the knees back in line with one another. Hands come down to the floor. Couple inches forward of a tabletop. Coming into our modified plank, straight line from the shoulders to the knees. Big deep breath in here. And as we exhale, we'll keep the elbows in nice and close, lowering all the way down. Pointing those toes, coming into our 3 cobra poses again. Inhaling, lifting the heart, using mostly the back muscles. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling, looking over the right shoulder. Exhaling down. Inhaling, looking over the left shoulder. And exhaling all the way down. Planting those hands, tucking the toes for the transition. We'll come back up to our modified plank. Take the knees wide, big toes together. And we'll find our child's pose. The spine is long, the hips are heavy, the head is heavy. Check in that your body feels centered in between your knees. So make sure that we're not sending the body too far over towards the right knee or too far over towards the left knee. We want to be evenly in between those knees. Making our way carefully on up. Bringing the knees back underneath the hips. Let's do a couple cat and cows. We just did a few longer holds with the spine, but we're just going to circulate some energy. So we're inhaling, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. Exhaling, rounding up. Noticing that this feels a little bit better this time than it did earlier on in class because our spine's warmed up. Alrighty, and then we'll make our way to a seated position with the legs nice and long in front of us. And if this is terrible for you, you are always welcome to lean up against a wall here. Actually, if this is terrible for you, I recommend leaning up against a wall, and I recommend doing this more often than you would probably like to, for like a couple minutes, maybe when you're watching TV or looking at your phone. Sit on the floor against the wall and sit all the way up against the wall, even with your head. That is my challenge. That's my yoga homework for you if you get into this position and it's miserable. I used to be someone that this pose was miserable for, and now it's not so bad. But my hamstrings and my back are a lot more open. So we're sitting up nice and tall in this staff pose, whether we've got our backs to the wall or not. The feet are flexed, the toes are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. The crown of the head is reaching up towards the ceiling. Shoulders are dropped away from the ears. Hands can be to either side, to the floor, to the thighs, whatever feels best. Take a big deep breath in here. And on our exhale, with a straight spine, we're going to walk the fingertips forward. Maybe they walk forward an inch. Maybe they walk forward a foot. Maybe all the way to your feet with a straight spine, Big deep breath in at the end of your stretch with a straight spine. And then we exhale to relax. So the spine gets to be rounded now. The head gets to hang down heavy. Noticing how your inhalations take you out of the stretch a little bit, out of the fold. And your exhalations allow you to get a little bit deeper. Inhaling to make your way all the way up. All the way straight with the spine. And we'll take the feet wide. Sitting up nice and tall again. Feet are flexed, and notice, take care to point the feet straight towards the ceiling. So we don't want them out to the sides. We don't want them in towards the center. We want them straight up towards the ceiling. So some rotation happening in the hips there. Sitting up nice and tall. Fingertips come to the floor. And on our exhale, we walk them forward maybe a couple inches, maybe a foot, till your spine can't stay straight any longer. Take a big deep breath in at that point. And on your exhale, relax everything down. Notice how this is a different stretch, even though it looks very similar. Stretching through the inner legs, the inner knees. Maybe allowing you to get a little bit lower. Maybe providing a little bit more of a release through that low back. Turn your head a couple times, looking over as far as you can to the right, and then as far as you can to the left. I found that doing a couple neck circles or neck half circles in different yoga poses can be really, really nice for the neck, and it's something we don't often think to do because we're so focused on getting into the poses. But with something like this, where we're slumped over and relaxed, it's a good spot to just check in with your neck again. We'll make our way back up to center. Let's come on down to our bellies. Coming on down to our bellies. This is called a pry stretch. So we're going to do one for each limb. So let's take the legs a little bit apart, just a comfortable distance apart. The arms out wide, and we're just laying down on our mats. First stretch is going to be this right arm is going to get a nice stretch. The right side of the chest is going to get a nice stretch. So we'll take the left hand to the floor in front of the chest. And then we're opening up that left shoulder, lifting the left shoulder off the mat, and the right shoulder that's down on the mat is getting a nice stretch. And you might find you lift that left shoulder up a couple inches and you find a good stretch. You might find that you're twisting so that you're looking up towards the ceiling till you find a good stretch. It all depends on your bone structure and the flexibility of your shoulder joint. Also, the angle of your arm, you can also adjust how high up or low towards your body your right arm is. Big deep breath in wherever you are. And then we'll exhale, coming back down to the mat. Both arms out wide. We'll do that on the other side. So the right hand comes to the floor, opening up the right side of the chest to stretch the left side of the chest. And we can take that hand higher or lower down towards the body. We can press harder into the floor to rotate the chest more perpendicular to the floor, finding your stretch. And we lower all the way down. Keeping the arms out wide in a T, let's take the left knee, bend the left knee is what I'm trying to say, and then we're lifting that knee off the floor, twisting it, sending the foot over towards the right side of the mat. So we're getting a stretch through the hip flexor, a nice twist through the low back, opening up the lower abs. We can take a couple circles with that ankle. Not too serious with this one, it's kind of a silly stretch. And we'll come all the way back down to our bellies. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So we're bending the right knee, lifting up the right knee and hip, sending the foot over towards the left side of the mat. Rolling the ankle around, shaking out the foot, relaxing through the ankle and the calf. And we'll come back onto the bellies. Bringing those hands back underneath the shoulders. And we'll press up into our modified plank one last time. So we're pressing into the hands, keeping the elbows in close. Coming up into a straight line from the shoulders to the knees. From here, we're walking the knees forward. This is a silly way to get from our bellies to our backs, but this is how we're doing it. Coming all the way to the top of the mat, and then we're laying back down. Laying back down on our backs. Knees bent at first. Just checking out how your body feels. Long and flat on the floor. And we'll take the left leg long. Take the right leg long. And reaching up, overhead and stretching. Eventually stretching from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. Bringing the bottoms of the feet to the floor. Crossing the left ankle over the right knee. We can stay right here. We can hold on behind that right knee, bringing the ankle closer to the face, intensifies the stretch. Big deep breath in, hugging that knee a tiny bit closer. And on our exhale, bringing the right foot all the way back down to the floor, uncrossing the left. We'll take the right ankle over the left, maybe keeping that left foot to the floor, maybe holding on behind the knee, finding a good stretch for your right hip today. Breathing regularly, using your exhales to release tension in the hip, release tension in the belly, release tension in the leg, the shoulders. Big deep breath in, hug that knee 1 inch closer. And on our exhale, we release the foot back down and uncross those legs. Let's take the arms out wide, swinging the knees from side to side. Slowly or more quickly. You can move with the breath, inhaling the knees up to center and exhaling them down to the side. Inhaling up to center and exhaling down to the side. Or you can swing them fast. And when you feel even and well circulated, go ahead and hug both knees in nice and close. Maybe even round the back, lift the chin towards the knees and rock a little bit from side to side, massaging out your spine. And we'll take the legs either bent with the bottoms of the feet to the floor or all the way long, finding your final relaxation pose. Finding a position that feels symmetrical from right to left. That you can relax in. Letting your body be soft and heavy in space. Heavy against the floor. Feeling gravity press on the front of your body. Feeling the back of your body press against the floor. What would we do without gravity? We're breathing regularly here, letting the belly, the chest, the throat, the face be soft. Not dwelling for too long on any thought that might arise. Just being still for a minute or two here in our final relaxation pose, our Shavasana. Taking a few deep breaths. Hopefully you feel like there's more room inside your lungs. We've stretched them a little bit, moving and breathing. Taking little movements with the fingers and the toes, rolling out wrists and ankles. When you're ready, bending both knees and rolling to lay all the way on one side. Make a little pillow for your head with your arm, or your pillow or your block. I mean your blanket. And then pressing on up into a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. Rooting through both sit bones and lengthening on up. Checking in with your shoulders, checking in with your hips, your back, hopefully noticing some space here. And we'll bring the palms together. We'll close with our 3 deep breaths. Taking a big deep breath in for the world. Exhaling, hands come into the heart. Big deep breath in for our community. Hands come into the heart. Big deep breath in for ourselves. Hands come into the heart. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for practicing with me. Your body thanks you. Namaste.